It has been a summer of blockbuster flops, from White House down and Olympus Has Fallen. World War Z didn't do as well as people thought. Oblivion a little bit before that. Now The Lone Ranger is tanking. They're saying it's going to lose like 150 million bucks. All the big boys, and that's what summers are all about, the big popcorn flicks, they're all crumbling and losing money for the studios. I think there might be something culturally good going on here that we're starting for the first time. Could it be possible that Americans are getting sick of the giant machine that pumps out Transformers, Michael Bay crap endlessly?
I hope so. I think it's the same for women. I don't see big Transformer movies with the GoBots and whatever, and I don't see rom-coms.
Because a lot of nerds are not going to.
Whatever. I prefer GoBots.
Wow.
But I think they're both lazy writing. Neither side of the spectrum appeals to me, and I hope you're right. And these guys, the Will Smiths and the Tom Cruises and all this stuff, they're not gods. They're not invincible. They're not. They might be in the movie.
Don't tell that to the
They're
Scientology
aging.
people.
Tom Cruise is 50 plus, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And Brad Pitt's going to be turning 50. I mean, Will Smith's 44, but still,
he's
he's always sort of been pegged as with the young kid.
Right.
He can still act like the 20-something and get away with it in a movie.
Yeah, well, actually, After Earth was the one that I forgot to mention, and that was one of the biggest bombs. And I think part of it is directly because of how people are now feeling about his son.
Yeah.
Do you think that's part of it? That it's like, most kids get like, a toy or a video game for their birthday. His son got a movie. You know what I mean? Like, here, take this movie.
Yeah.
Do you think part of this is like people are starting to turn against the big stars a little bit? I think some of that's there.
I'm a moviegoer, so I go see all the big movies. I still go see independent movies and stuff too. But, I think, like with Johnny Depp, there's been a lot of stories. Lone Ranger has tanked. It hasn't affected Disney stock, which I thought was very interesting, because they said a few months ago that the investors actually thought it's probably going to be a tank because people were not reviewing it well. And I'm thinking, wow, they're okay with a $160 million loss. They've already accepted that into their stock roll.
Right, and it doesn't matter on the bottom line, really, because there's so much money.
But when people are talking about Johnny Depp as an actor, and probably these other guys, it's like, they're just kind of mailing it in, which has become like, okay, what happened to the Johnny Depp of old that was like the quirky guy, but that had some substance behind his really cool characters? Now he's just flopping his arms and doing the same sort of Pirates of the Caribbean shtick in The Lone Ranger or whatever.
Right, it looks like it's just a different costume. Like they had him in and they were like,
Which, I think people are getting sick of. And then B, the writing. All we're doing now is seeing remakes of past movies or past TV shows. And I'm thinking to myself, the last great movie that I really, really, really liked was that was original was Inception. And I was like, it was a fantastic movie that you had to watch a couple times, you had to think about it all the way to the very end. And even then you're having discussions. And it was like, oh my God, it was an original movie idea with great acting, a great storyline. It made you think. You had to stay focused through the entire movie instead of these I don't know, how many Supermans are we doing and how many Transformers are we doing? I'm like, people are getting sick of that, I think. People are like, oh my God, another Smurf movie?
Yeah.
I mean, really?
Move on.
Are we ready to think?
There's an app called Run Pee. I don't know if you're familiar, but it basically tell you where in the movie you can go pee and not miss anything.
The breaks are.
Yeah.
That's a great.
And in movies like this, is it just pee?
Yeah.
Because it doesn't look like we're really going to miss anything. And to be honest, that's like I said, it's not really my kind of movie. I did see World War Z. I thought it was great.
Really?
I thought it was great. It was kind of I Am Legend-y, but it's cool, whatever.
Yeah.
But I got to say, as far as apocalyptic movies are concerned, this is the end. The best movie I've ever seen.
Hilarious.
I didn't see it, but a lot of people
it's the best. Hilarious. Because the writing's great, the banter is funny, the story. I didn't even realize it was like a stupid zombie movie until halfway through it.
And that proves the point, though, because that was a smart, well-written movie, and it did well. It's not on this list of massive budget.
Well, because there's no really big movie action stars like these guys, in it. But the ensemble's great, the writing's funny, everything about it is just kind of tongue-in-cheek, but it was original, it was funny.
And maybe, with stuff like Breaking Bad, Walking Dead, maybe we are getting smarter.
That was your perfect
free.
point. Yes,
that
I think.
It's like you pay your cable channel, your Dish Network, or
whatever
your
you do,
bill.
that's private up to you. But I think you're on it with that, about this idea that there's so much good television right now. You know what I mean? and if you want to get your zombies, you can watch Walking Dead, and it's great, and Breaking Bad,
and Cinemax. I'm telling you, Strike Back, check it out. You will love it. Cinemax and HBO.
Or what's the other one on
Mad Men,
Game of Thrones? I mean, there's a lot. Or what's the one on Netflix with Kevin Spacey? House of Cards.
House of Cards,
The
right.
point is
I'm
that
not
there's.
smart enough for that though.
You weren't smart
I
enough.
haven't
that's
actually
why
started watching
people
that
like,
one
I don't
yet.
like when he breaks the fourth wall. I'm like, if he didn't, I wouldn't know what a whip was. So I have to,
You're talking
do my
about the
whip.
house whip,
Yeah, exactly.
not the, not that whip.
Yeah.
Oh darn.
Yeah.
You
So
can find that on your porn channel too if you like.
I'm finding this rather inspiring. We all seem to be agreeing that maybe Americans are ready for some
Maybe
smarter.
they're getting smarter. Is exactly
Could
right.
it possibly be?
And you know what? The one thing over anything in any situation, if you talk with your checkbook or you talk with your wallet, people will have to listen.
Yep.
And when they said, oh, maybe for Independence Day we're not going to hire Will Smith because you know what? He's diminishing in how fans like him. And really, can we afford that paycheck? Finally, a movie production company that's going, maybe it's not worth it.
Yeah.
Smart, finally.
In case
that
you're
they're
missing,
saying no.
Yeah, so Independence Day 2 is not going to have Will Smith in it in case.
Which is great. I mean, why
Yeah.
not have somebody new?
Yeah.
I mean, again, it's another, sequel to another movie, which is driving me crazy. Can't we just write it? I mean, where are the writers in Hollywood? Really? Write something original.
Where are these people?
Where are these people?
I mean, you know what I mean?
They all
But,
retired.
but then they're talking about
ready for cable.
like most
Yeah, exactly.
Right, exactly. I mean, with the upstart of great cable television shows, but all of the regular, free TV, dramas have really and comedies have they've all disappeared over the years. There's no more Friends, there's no more shows like that, and it's like writers are like, "Oh, we have nothing else to work on. Everything's reality." And I'm like, well, if you're writing really good quality
Don't make it a
stuff,
self-fulfilling prophecy. We can still turn this ship around.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Exactly.
And you know what? I don't hold it against the big stars. I mean, get your paycheck, man. Cash
I'm
it in.
not putting it past any of them. Yeah.
But on the other hand, it's like, well, hubris. Like you're not worth that anymore.
And in this article, actually, that you sent us, Tom Cruise has foregone like a movie that he agreed to so he could go back and make another Mission Impossible movie because he knows that's the cash cow.
That's the moneymaker, right? I actually thought Oblivion was pretty decent, but.
See, I wanted to go see it, and then by the time we blinked and my husband came back from a trip, it was not in the movie theater anymore.
Well, final point on this. Do you think that's actually part of the problem, that everyone gets so hyped for these big movies that if you don't see it in the first 2 days, it's like,
gone.
No,
I
no,
think
it's still
well,
there.
yeah.
It's still there, but it's like, oh, I already missed the exciting
or you
part.
hear about it. Like
Yeah.
people are like, oh, it sucks. And then people go, yeah, I don't want to spend my $20 at the movie theater then. I'll go
Exactly.
see something else that I've heard is good.
And if you're a real movie buff, you give it to them that first weekend because that's all that anybody gives a shit about.
Right.
So.
Exactly. And then, you
If
get it
you
on
really want to help the studio the way they want to be.
exactly.
Right,
Yeah.
but then soon enough you're going to get it on Netflix or you're going to get it on DVD or you're going to watch it on HBO anyway. So a lot of times people, I've asked my friends, Mike, hey, have you gone to see blah 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 in the movie theater? Nah, I'll just wait for it to come out. I'll watch it at home.
Yeah.
It's like, unless it's such a great movie that you have to see it on the big screen with all the bells and whistles. He's like, nah, I'll just wait for it to come out on DVD.
Yeah.
I'm like, really? You
Well,
never used to be that way.
You know what? In these here parts, we appreciate you watching it on YouTube. So there's a subscribe button right down there. I want to thank my guests LeeannTweeden and Gina Grad there on the Twitter, and you can see their little Twitter handles right there as well. And now you can go back to your red tube, as Leanne recommended.
I was just doing research.
Or you can go into your internet browser thing and block all that stuff, as the man from the Million Man
Sign up
porn
thing.
thing doesn't
Yeah.
want you to do. Okay, we'll do this again next week. Thanks, guys.